How's it going, guys? It's the Pretty Boy Offense. My name's Saj, and we are going to do my love and hate games of the week for Week 12 NFL Survivor. So, really interesting week with the way the schedule is because of Thanksgiving football. There's 3 games tomorrow. We're going to get into those games. I figured with 3 early games this week, it'd be important to kind of touch on all those games. So I'll give you those 3 games, and then we'll break it down a bit more for my love and hates as well. So the first game tomorrow, Lions at Bears. This was actually trending towards being one of the games I really loved in the week. If Justin Fields was still playing, if some of these stories about Matt Nagy being fired after the game weren't coming up, this would have been a really awesome time for late in the season to grab the Bears, take advantage of what seemed to be a team that was trying to find an identity, and on the big platform, the big stage of a Thanksgiving game against a team like the Detroit Lions, just felt like a bit of a perfect storm and a convenient pick for a survivor. That's not going to be the case. Justin Fields is injured. Andy Dalton's playing. Matt Nagy has there's some rumblings about him being fired in this, during the season, maybe even after this game. So with all of that turmoil and stuff, that's one of the games I really want to stay away from. So we won't touch this. It looks like Jared Goff's going to be back for the Lions too, so they might be competent enough to end up winning this game. And I think that actually is a pretty decent bet. If you just have a team with some structure and you smell some blood in the water, with what the Bears are shedding right now, you could definitely see the Lions taking advantage of the Bears. So really do hate this game because like I said, I am expecting the Lions to win, but how can we expect a team to win who hasn't won a game all year, right? So I do hate that game. The next game on the docket is the Raiders versus the Cowboys. And again, this looked like it was going to be another slam dunk game. The way that the Raiders were trending, they were trending down. The O-line started catching up to Derek Carr. His play regressed back to kind of what we would expect from a team with such a bad O-line and a quarterback that was making so many nice downfield throws. How consistent could he be with that? Well, it turns out about 10 or 8 weeks in is when he started falling off. Coaching issues, the wide receiver issues and stuff like that. Edwards just really isn't coming up to being anything too special. Darren Waller is kind of, he's limited in what he can do for the offense, especially like we said with this O-line. So it looked like it was going to be a slam dunk game for the Cowboys to get in the win column. But then when the Cowboys go and lay an egg like they do against the Chiefs, and I know entirely not everybody on the Cowboys team's fault. It's they're kind of a victim of just some injuries that happen, and those injuries are going to follow over into the season or this game right now, this Week 12 game with CeeDee Lamb being out, Amari Cooper's out, Zeke Elliott doesn't really look fully healthy, or even if he is, he's not the player he once was because he's just not getting the yards he used to on some of these plays. Yeah, I hate this game as well, Cowboys versus Raiders, and like I said, guys, those are 2 games I was really excited about for Thanksgiving in terms of Survivor picks. Now we have to start reevaluating, and this was a very tough week for Survivor. There's a lot of really close matchups. There's a lot of tight games that we have to really discern, and I think a couple of my bets are going to be going for teams that I've been heavily against in this season. And then for the last game of the night, Bills versus Saints. The big matchup in this is just the Bills have such a good secondary in the NFL, so they'll be able to stop any passes, any passing team on a good day when Josh Allen isn't throwing them under the bus. But the Saints don't have a passing offense, so the Bills are a slam dunk this week. They look like the team to pick. The majority of your league is probably going to be picking the Bills to beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving. And I do like that game. If you guys want to pick a game on Thursday, that's the game to pick. All right, so now we're going to move on to my other love and hate games without those 3. I just figured, for Thursday, I'd give you those if anyone's on the fence about them. I know they're tomorrow. But we'll start with the hate games. So I already mentioned, Bears, Lions, Raiders, and Cowboys. But another game I really do hate is Panthers, Dolphins. Now, people might be thinking, it's just why is this game even in consideration? Well, the Dolphins look relatively healthy on offense, relatively. Tua Tagovailoa played a full game. He was accurate with his passes. I mean, he still didn't have the downfield looks that we really wanted out of Tua, but the receivers are relatively healthy. I mean, the O-line's still not the best, but if they're ever going to be able to take advantage of, not take advantage, if they're ever going to stay competent in a game, it would have been against a Panthers team that is just rudderless on offense right now. So it's, they do obviously have a good defense, the Panthers, but you're going to be able to stay in this game if your defense can then, slow down Cam. But it looks like Cam's getting better and better every week. I kind of mentioned in my other video about Cam kind of taking the unders more, which seems like the right thing right now for Carolina. They just keep taking the safe things, keep moving the ball down the field. Your defense will put in work as well. And it just feels like these are two teams that are very, very close right now. And with the Panthers kind of still getting Cam acclimated into the Joe Brady system, and with the Dolphins still trying to figure out how much they can really get away with Tua in terms of pushing him without the game getting out of reach because of his mistakes, pushing the ball down the field. That's why this game's a real no-go for me. If Cam maybe was another week or 2 weeks into this system and playing the Dolphins, I'd probably go Panthers. And if Tua had shown that he was a little bit more confident with some downfield passes to take advantage of those cornerback injuries in Carolina, then I probably would have gone Dolphins. But it's just two teams really close right now, and like I said, we don't want to take teams that are close. Yes, that's sneaky. Yes, you can fight another week, but it's so close that you'll be sitting on the edge of your seat. So Panthers, Dolphins, don't like that game. One of my hates. Another game I hate, Falcons, Jaguars. And I do love a lot of the players on the Falcons roster, but it is not a good team right now. And they're going up against a team that is just playing the most uninspired football in the league right now, which is the Jaguars. They just, can't get any traction in the NFL. The coaches don't really get the game. Trevor Lawrence is stuck trying to figure it out himself. It's just a really bad situation all across the organization for the Jaguars. But if there was a team that the Jaguars could beat right now, it's the Falcons. And as much as I love, the MVP Matt Ryan that we had, seasons ago, as much as I love Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson and stuff like that, the Falcons, I've just lost a season, and they should beat the Jaguars. They could beat the Jaguars, but if the Jaguars have a good enough game plan, we've seen just Matt Ryan kind of fall by the wayside a bit on certain games. He's been up and down this season. He has 2 or 3 games of decent play, and then he'll have a couple games of bad play, and you just don't want to be caught on the Matt Ryan roller coaster, especially on the bad end of it when it's the reason you'll leave for Survivor. So Falcons, Jaguars, don't touch that game. I hate it. Last game I hate. Seahawks versus the Washington football team. So now, it's actually weird because I don't know who technically should have been favorite. I try and stay away from looking at Vegas odds and stuff for these games. Obviously, people in Vegas know more than me. Definitely address those lines. Think about those lines when you're making your Survivor picks. I think there's a lot of value in it. I just approach this from just a sheer. I try and watch all the football I can. I try and take in and form my own opinions, and that's what this channel's about. And with the Washington football team, I know their defense has underperformed all year, and I've been the number one person waving the flag, just bringing to attention to how criminal it is that all the talent on that defense couldn't produce any stats on a sheet or a scoreboard or anything. But if there's ever going to be a game where they could produce, it would be against this Seahawks team. We just saw the Cardinals tear them up. We've seen multiple teams tear them up. The O-line's bad. Russell Wilson's still not healthy. Yeah, he's going to get taken advantage of in this game. And I know I rag on Taylor Heineke, but if there's ever a defense that Heineke could play against, it is the Seahawks defense. So now why do I hate this game? Well, it's because all these things that I just talked about with the Seahawks are things that should slowly get remedied. You'd expect, Tyler Lockett just had a big game against the Cardinals, even though it amounted to nothing. I think Russell Wilson, another week of healing that finger, if he can come back and be 70% of what Russell Wilson is, then yeah, the Seahawks have a fighting chance at this game. And if the Seahawks have a fighting chance, then this game gets really close, because I do think Washington is just a really bad football team, especially offensively. So that's why I hate it. There's a lot of question marks about the Seahawks team, but maybe only 2 or 3 of them need to be solved for them to actually compete, get back in this. And that's why I hate that game. Absolutely hate Seahawks versus Washington. Okay, so now we're going to start moving into the love games. So the love games this week are pretty bold. like I said, there's no easy matchups this week. There's a lot of really good games from just a football watching standpoint, but that makes it very hard for us in a survivor standpoint. Even you heard about with all these hate games and stuff like that. A lot of those games, it's like they could go either way. That's why I hate them. And it's the same thing with these love games. But with these love games, I just got to go with my gut and what I trust in terms of like formations and stuff like that, what I see on the field. And to start off, the Bengals versus the Steelers, I love the Bengals to beat the Steelers this week. The AFC North is so competitive, and we're seeing the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow experience kind of really get fleshed out, and he's learning that he doesn't need to lean on them in every single game, which is perfect. And we saw Mixon just take over the last running game against the Raiders. Like I said in my video, if you want to if you want to stop Max Crosby, run it up the gut. Can you do that against the Steelers? No. We saw the Chargers get stopped on, a 3rd and inches, a 4th and inches twice because their interior D line's so strong. But then I really do trust Joe Burrow to let Jamar Chase take advantage of those outside corners, and you have the other receivers on Cincinnati as well. And then on top of that, Ben had a really good game against the Chargers, and we've all, I say we all, like my friends, like analysts that I watch, just the public opinion of football is that Ben Roethlisberger's fallen off, and he has been for most of the season, and he's had moments of being a good quarterback again, but is that repeatable every week? No. So would I expect him to repeat it this week? I don't, and I don't think this Bengals defense is great. I think there's a lot of room to be taken advantage of with it, especially with Najee Harris. But no, I think the Bengals are a better team. I think if they want to be in the playoffs, they have to win this game. So, that narrative really does start creeping into it, and it's a necessity for them to win. I think the Bengals win this game. I absolutely love the Bengals to win this game against the Steelers. Next game, similar thing. This is a narrative-driven game, and after what just happened with the Steelers, the Chargers really need to focus all that good energy that they had coming out of that fourth quarter, which was so close, miracle ending, and just use all that to beat the Broncos. Now, the Broncos are a really scary team to pick against. We saw what they did to a fully healthy Cowboys team. We know just what the talent is on this team. It's just so untapped in terms of like their offense, their defense was producing. But yeah, division game. I think the Chargers know what they have to do. Go in, win this game, really start cementing yourself in terms of like the playoff competition with the 6 weeks left. I really like the Chargers in this game. We just saw, this could be this coming to earth moment for Herbert where he's just like, kind of really separating himself from the crowd of other young QBs. I'm really impressed with the way he reads the field, plays and everything like that. And the thing with the Broncos defense is, yes, they're very talented. Yes, they're very fast. But there are teams that can take advantage of them, and the Chargers are one of them with the many weapons that they have. Okay, the last game I love, and this is like I said, they're pretty crazy to say that you love these games, thinking about how close some of these are, but Patriots over Titans. It's wild to think about what the Patriots were at the beginning of the season, and now they've really found their identity. They're playing so well. Their defense is incredible, this being well coached, and they're going up against a Titans team that has, finally just crashed back down from this high they're riding, knocking out the Bills, the Colts, and the Chiefs and stuff like that, and now they kind of, they had the stinker against the Jags, and they just had their stinker again. But the Patriots are built to really take advantage of weaknesses in teams, and Bill Belichick is going to plan for all these holes. So Mike Vrabel should be getting Coach of the Year consideration and talk about what he's done with this roster, with how many injuries that they've had, and where he has them sitting in the AFC playoff picture. But for this game, I think the Patriots win this hands down. Your coach is too good. Your quarterback is so disciplined and well learned that he will attack the field appropriately, attack those weak corners. You're seeing the Titans even go through this rotational defensive line that's just not going to get pressure on Mac Jones at all. And then on the other side of that, you're seeing a Titans offense which is just release Adrian Peterson. So they're going to be, I think Jeremy McNichols is coming back, is going to be their primary running back right now. A.J. Brown's always nursing injuries. Julio Jones probably out this game too. This is just a perfect storm for just a team peaking at the right moment, and I think a team that's kind of coming down as well in the Titans. So I absolutely love taking the Patriots over the Titans this week as my number one love game. But yeah, a little bit of a longer breakdown, guys. I thought I'd go into it a little bit more in depth. This is a very tough week, so I really wanted to give you my thoughts on these games. Hopefully they help you out. Have a good Thanksgiving, guys, and yeah, good luck with your picks. See ya.